out there in the world, and you have to think about who you want to associate with. And when you think about that, and not that, listen, Kevin's a great guy, I'm just teasing, but whoever it is that you associate with is really the key to your success in the future. And if I have a thought to leave with you today, is that every single one of you are captains of your own ship. And the minute you give up the right to choose for yourself and to think for yourself and to do what you know is going to make you happy is the minute that you've lost everything. And the simplest, most basic thing that I ask our clients when we first start to work with them is this: can you tell me what success looks like? So I'm going to ask each one of you to think to yourself right now, at this moment in time, after being on a huge high for the weekend, can you tell me what success is going to look like for you in your own life? And the only way you're ever going to know that is if you really understand what your values are. And you really know who you are. And you don't let anybody take you off that. And that's not to say you can't make mistakes, because God knows we're all going to make a lot of them. And I've made a ton of them in my life. It is to say, however, that you don't give up your right to think for yourself to somebody else. And I guess when I think about the topic tonight, which was back to basics, it really made me stop and think about what is success for me. And success for me, frankly, hasn't been the show, although it's wonderful to be on it. And it hasn't been my career, although I've really enjoyed it. It has been the journey of my life. And so as I've asked each of you to think about what success looks like for you in the future, I want you to think about what it might feel like to be standing here. I think I'm probably 30 years older than many of you. Think about standing here 30 years from now and looking out to a group of really energized, smart, future leaders of the country and saying to them that the only thing that matters is what's in here. And that is the most sincere and honest thing I can tell you. So I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about exactly what I have learned, and I've learned that success is personal, that balance is individual, that we are all lucky to live in Canada, that you can't do anything because somebody else wants you to, and most of all, that you can't hide from yourself. And just to kind of illustrate that, I want to tell you a little personal story about when I was about 13 years old. I went with my cousin and we snuck out I lived right across from an elementary school. So we had this bright idea that we were going to go across from the school and smoke some cigarettes. Okay, that was the worst I did, okay? So I'm going to tell you what kind of cigarettes they were. Okay. So we go across the schoolyard and we smoke. And we do this one night and we get away with it. And the next night we do it again and we got away with it. And the third night we're out in the schoolyard, and it's dark, and a policeman comes up to us. And he says, "What are you girls doing?" Now, like every kid, we go, "Oh my God, well, we're sorry, we shouldn't have been smoking." He goes, "Well, it's illegal for you to smoke, you're underage. I'm gonna have to take your names down and write down on a piece of paper who you are, and then I'm gonna have to go and tell your parents." And, we were sitting there, and I could see my house. I'll never forget this. I'm sitting in the schoolyard. I could see my living room window from where we were standing behind the building. And I'm thinking, my dad's going to kill me. And he goes, we're begging him, please don't take our names, please don't tell our parents. He said, "No, I'm sorry, I have to do this." So off he goes, and off I go back home. And I walk into my house. And my father, who was a PhD in education and everything was a lesson with him, looked at me and he said, "Hi, Arlene, what you been up to?" And I said, "Dad, nothing." And then I went in my room and I sat there and thought about it. I thought, okay, one of two things can happen. He can kill me now or he can kill me later. So I decided to go back out and I say to my dad, "Dad, I got to tell you something. I've been caught. I was smoking a cigarette out in the schoolyard. And I don't know how to tell you, but that's what I did." And he looked at me and he said, "Well, Arlene, trust is a funny thing." He said, "I trusted you when you left the house tonight, that you would behave in a way that you could be most proud of." And he said, "And it starts and ends right there, that you have to be proud of your own behavior. And thank you for telling me, but you have to trust yourself to do what's right." And he said, "You have to trust that you'll always make the right choices." So I thought, wow, that was, okay, that's a good lesson, and kind of walked away and was glad that I didn't get a tool this big. Wrong, yes. And about a week later, I'm standing outside my house, and my neighbor's there, and she had just hired a brand new nanny for her kids. And we're talking, and the nanny comes out, and I said, oh, hi, and I introduced myself to her. She goes, oh, hey. And I said, they'd moved in a little bit earlier, and I said, what do you do? And she's living in nanny for a while. She says, well, you might see my boyfriend coming in and out of here all the time. I said, oh, okay, great. She said, and you'll know it's my boyfriend because he drives a police car. And I said, a police car? And she goes, yeah, he's a policeman. So what had turned out was my father, in all his wisdom, had gone and met the neighbor, told the policeman to go find us in the schoolyard, scare the shit out of us, and never told me. And that, my friends, is where you learn the value of truth and honesty with yourself, because you never know who's really watching you, and your parents are always going to be watching you. I'll close. I know I've probably gone longer than I should have. I caught people going. But I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight. I hope you do remember that Dragon's Den is all about entrepreneurship and succeeding in business, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do to set this Canadian country on fire with your innovative ideas and your great energy. And I wish you all nothing but success with your lives and with your homes and with your careers and with yourself. Thank you.